Hey guys, so for tonight's video, we're going to be showing you um, a way to get your Microsoft Flight Simulator to its optimal performance. Basically, to get higher than 60 frames per second, anything higher than 60 frames per second on your rig. Now, I am currently using a 3080 at the moment, um, but I found out that this settings works with any kind of as long as you have the 20 series and above graphic cards for the um, NVIDIA RTX graphic cards, then this should, in theory, work. Because I used to have the 2060 Super, and I used to test it on that, and I was getting pretty good frame rates. I was getting over 60 frame rates, 60 FPS on my 2060 Super on Ultra, and this was before the update. This was before the optimize what is it? Optimize whatever update that they did on Microsoft, where the buildings and the draw distances are a lot less. Before, it's actually a lot worse before. Um, so now it's more optimized. I don't like the new system though. It's because they're trying to make it work for. I understand they're trying to make it work for the Xbox or the console systems by lowering down the quality of like textures, and having the textures not load in when you're not looking at it. As you can see, the buildings are loading in as I look at them. Before, it was never like that. I think they're Microsoft, the devs are working on that at the moment for PC users that has really high end graphic cards and CPUs. You're able to switch that off and have everything load in. So you can see the buildings are like loading in as you look away, as you look at them, they load in. Before, they never had that. They're gonna have a switch or a slider to get rid of that, because it was never like that before, and it's really annoying. Um, but I see why they had to do that, because they need to make it work for the console. Um, but anyways, I digress. As you can see here, this is my stats here. I'm getting 78, 79 FPS. Even if I'm looking around, I'm getting above 60. I'm gonna show you my settings here. I'm currently on a pre-flight setting. What do you call this? Waypoints here. So it's I'm trying to make the scene as the same as possible every time. So there's not that many discrepancies, right? So it's always the same. It's always the same render. It's hard. It's hard to get every single frames or every single render the same, because it's always changing. You're going in circles. I'm going in circles. I'm going around at the Empire State Building here. So, but anyways, I'll go ahead and check out my settings here. This is my current settings at the moment. So for the 3080, the recommended rendering scale is 80. So it's actually rendering at 1727p instead of 2160p. Um, with that rendering, you don't notice any difference. No, basically zero difference with sharpness and how the buildings look and anything. It looks very. You cannot tell from the difference of 4K to this resolution. So 80 is a recommended resolution for 1440p. I'm sorry, for 4K. Now, if you're on a lower graphic card, if you're using maybe a 2060 Super or a 3060 Ti or whatnot, it's probably you're probably gonna want to lower this down to 1440p. That means your rendering resolution, you can't go lower than 90 on that one. And on 1080p, you shouldn't even use this. If you're gonna render this at, if your resolution is gonna be at 1080p, you're gonna be playing this simulator at 1080p. Don't render scale it at all. It's terrible. Um, Now if you're at 1440p, you could render it to 90%. At 4K, you could render all the way down to 80%. So this is my settings here. So I found out these really doesn't really matter. All these, it does not matter. It doesn't really. This is just where I want to set it at. This doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters here is this, guys. This slider here is really what really matters. The terrain level of detail. This has a very, 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 very huge impact on frames, on your frames. This just a little bit, but this one does. It takes a big hit. I'll demonstrate it to you at the moment. As you can see here, I'll go to ultra. I'm gonna go to ultra settings, where it's gonna crank the terrain level of detail all the way to 200. So you'll see everything is at ultra here. Everything is at ultra. So you'll see what the changes are. You'll see my frames drop. See, I'm doing 36. See, as you can see, I'm still doing 63, 65. But when once I start panning the camera around, that's when I'm gonna get a big frame rate dip. 55, 40, 51. You see that, right? And it's not as smooth. So I use this a lot. I do this a lot. So this makes a lot of difference for me. I can't handle this. This is too it's too dirty. It just looks like crap to me. I can't handle this. It needs to be at least 60 frames per second. I can't handle anything lower than 60 because I really notice it and it bugs me. So if you want to get a hard 60, you'll see what I'm gonna do here. As you can see, I'm still getting hard 60. I'm gonna get 60 if I just stay at this view right here. You guys see, I'm at 63 right now, 64. But only if I stay at this view, I'm fine, like this. I'll say 65. But once I start panning cameras around, it dips down. So, and I do this a lot. I do this a lot. I look around a lot here. Actually, inside here is not that bad. So, but anyways, you'll see the difference here. I'll show you the big difference here. Okay? The only thing I'm gonna move is this slider. This is the only single thing I'm gonna move. Everything else here, this doesn't matter. Doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't I mean, I guess I could say that on a 3080, right? But on a lower end graphic card, you know, maybe it might do something. But on a 2060 Super, I didn't get any difference with this because I used to own a 2060 Super, and then this is what I did. I kept everything at ultra except this. You'll see. I'll put this to 10. Okay. You'll see the frame rate. You'll see the frame rate. Look at my frame rate, guys. 77, 76, 75. So that one slider made such a big difference on your frame rate. I mean, of course, everything's gonna look like trash. 70, 70. Look at that. I'm getting 70. Anything I do here, I'm getting 70. I'm getting 70 frames per second. I'm getting 60, 69, 73, 72. It never dipped below 60, guys. All right, this never dipped below 60. So now, what you want to do is you want to find that balance for you. You want to find that balance for you here. So all this doesn't do anything when your frames. This doesn't really affect your frame rate. All these other settings here doesn't really affect your frame rate. So maybe the only thing that does is I'm sorry, this one does. Where is it at? Your texture resolution does. So keep this on high. This only works if as you can see on the top, Flight Simulator must be restarted for these changes to effect. So every time I change this, it doesn't do anything because I have to restart my flight simulator, and I'm not about to do that because you guys know how long it takes to freaking load the flight simulator from big when you restart it. But anyway, so keep this at high. I always keep this at high. Ultra's too much. It doesn't. This does take a hit on your what do you call this? I'm sorry, on your frame rate. So keep this at high, or even depending on your graphic card, even medium. But don't put it on low. Just medium or high. Now you'll see. I'm gonna increase this to 150. Okay, I want to, or yeah, 170. Look at the difference on the frames here. Look at the frames. It went down to 55, 50, 60, 62, 62. But I mean, it looks nicer, right? So you have to find that balance for yourself. Which one you want more? Frames, or do you want the eye candy? I mean, to some people, they don't mind this. They don't mind 57. They don't mind 55 or 50 or 47, but I do. So for me, this works for me. This works for me right here. 75. 75 works for me. The building still looks great, and I'm getting really high frame rate. The buildings, as you can see, they still look really, really good. They don't look like rocks or anything. They don't look like a blob of rocks. They still look good. And I'm getting 60. I mean, I'll probably dip down to 59, but it's good for me. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. This settings a lot. So as you can see, my frame here, I am dipping down to the 50s, but I don't mind it. It doesn't look bad at all to me because my frame rates, my frame timing is quite low. I mean, I'm getting 25 milliseconds here, 25, whatever, but it's still good. Through my eyes, it's still good. Now I'll show you each settings here. I'm not gonna go to every one settings. I'm gonna show you. It doesn't make a difference. I'll show you these guys. Let's do the anisotropic filtering. Let's put that to off. Not really gonna make a difference here in the frame rate. Look, same thing. 57, 56. I'm still getting about the same frame rate as it was there before. So it doesn't really matter. 55, 58, 59, 60. It's the same as I had it from before. But now, if I do this, it'll take a big hit. You'll see. Okay, now 48, 49. Dipping down to the 40s now. 45. 52. So this is the thing that really takes a big hit out of anything. This guy takes a big hit of anything, guys. I mean, I'm not saying these doesn't really take a big hit. They do take a hit, but not as big as this. This is the biggest hit that it takes. This is the biggest what do you call it? Performance effect that it will hit. So you can see here, I'm at 200 now. Now 44, 36, 30 frames per second. Look at this. 36, 34, 30. Looks like trash. So, I mean, in terms of frame rate, it's trash. But in terms of like the eye candy, is beautiful, right? Because look how sharp everything is down there. But I mean, if you keep it like this, you're fine. If you fly just like this, and you don't pan your cameras around, I pan my cameras around all the time. I do this all the time. I'm always doing this all the time, looking around. If you're not doing that, you're just flying kind of like this. then you're fine because you're gonna hit 70. You're fine like this. You could keep it at ultra. You could even just keep everything at ultra, and you're fine like that. You're fine like this. Fine like this. You look at that. I'm hitting 60. I'm a solid 60 right now. Okay, I think. I don't know. We'll see. I'm a solid 60. I've never seen it go down 60, but I may be wrong here. Yeah, look. If you're flying like this, you're fine. This is the way you want to play. This is the way you want to sim. Then that's fine. You're good. You sim like this. And you occasionally just look around from time to time here, and then don't look around too much. Then you're fine. You're good. But as for me, I do this all the time. I look around all the time. So, I mean, I don't want to say, all the other settings doesn't take a big hit. Like, I'm not saying, like, these things are not going to take a big hit. Or they're not going to take any kind of hit. Like, if you start putting these on high, it does help a little bit, just a little bit. So, I guess on a lower end graphic card, maybe you should put it on high, right? Maybe you should put those on high. There's actually a tutorial here, how to optimize these settings. I mean, I could show you now, cause I've been messing around with all these settings for about since this game came, or since this simulator came out. Oh, well, wait, no, don't ever change that. If you're gonna be using this, the rendering scale rendering, keep it at TAA. Never change it. Actually, don't even change at all. Keep it at TAA at all times. It's the best and it's the most sharpest on everything. But like, let me cancel that real quick because I don't know what I was changing. Okay, let's go back. So, I mean, I guess if you're on a lower end graphic card, um, sorry, excuse me. Typically, you'll probably keep it at high end. With that, you want to put this. Where is it at? The only thing I would change for a lower end graphic card is this. I'll keep this like at 75. I mean, this doesn't. Yeah. Well, we could put. I usually put this on 75 as well. This does take a hit somewhat, but this takes the hit the most on performance. Um. Now, if I was on a lower end, like a 2060, I'll probably put these. Actually, you know what? I'll probably put these on medium, to be honest with you. Volumetric clouds, high. High is the best. Medium, you'll see differences of the clouds. On low, the clouds they look like trash. So high looks exactly like ultra. Like, it still looks nice. Ultra, of course, is gonna be nicer, but high, there's really a little bit of difference between high and ultra. But you do take some performance hit as well on ultra. But you don't want to go to medium if you have to. If you must, and you don't really care about the clouds, then yeah, you could go medium. But they're not as nice. They don't look as nice to me. So I keep them at high. Keep this the same here. High 8.4. Texture synthesis. This is the only thing I might change. Go to ultra. Even on a lower end graphic card, this doesn't really take any kind of hit on graphic cards. Keep that at ultra. Waves, keep it on high. Let's see, terrain shadows, keep that same. Contact shadows, you might be able to lower these down to medium. Windshield effects, this takes hard hit inside, so keep it medium or low. Ambient occlusion, I usually keep this on medium. I mean, I'm talking about, this is for a lower end graphic card, guys. All right, like a 2060 or something. Well, that's not. Well, now that's a lower end graphic card. I guess now it is. I don't know. So medium reflections. Reflection is really up to you. This doesn't really hit any. It doesn't do. The only thing it does is the reflections on water. Typically I keep this on high. Light shafts, same high. Bloom on. Depth of field, typically I keep that off. It doesn't. You don't really notice. You don't really notice the depth of field like you do if you really are. If you're really looking for it. And I don't like it when it blurs things around you, and you're like focused in one. Like for example, you're in the cockpit. You're looking at the steering wheel, or you're looking at the not steering wheel, but you're looking at something closer to you, and then everything behind it is blurry. Like you can't see your speed. You can't like see your like. It's just annoying. So I keep this off, and this does take some kind of hit on your system. Not really, but I just turn it off. I'm sorry. Yeah, not motion blur, but depth of field. I keep that off. For motion blur, keep it high or ultra. This actually doesn't really take any hit. It just makes everything smooth. Like I know a lot of people, like on different games, are like motion blur. I typically turn it off, like on DayZ or Call of Duty or any other games. But on Flight Simulator, you do want motion blur because if you're panning around your camera, you don't want the stutterness. You want it to be smooth. You want your scenery to be smooth, panning very smoothly instead of like like a stutter, like a it's like a what is this? What am I trying to say? It's like a slideshow, right? It's like watching a slideshow. It's like frames by frames. You don't want that. You want it to be smooth. So either high or ultra. I keep it on high. Lens correction, that's really nothing. Lens flare, keep that on. Glass cockpit refresh rate, either low or medium. High does take a hit on your frame rate when you're inside your cockpit. So I mean, even this, you'll see my settings. I mean, I'm running like what I said. I'm running at 3080, so the frame rate's probably gonna explode to like 100 or something. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But we'll apply that. So you guys want to see it again? Here you go. Okay. Could pause the video or whatever. Okay, go back. See my frame rate's at 80. Okay, let's go look around. Very, very smooth as you can see. We did go down to 50 there, but I mean, what can you do, right? So see, you still go down to 50. Regardless if you're on low graphics, you still, it'll still dip down to 50 because it's really, really hard to render all this. It's a beast of a game. I thought Cyberpunk was beast of a game. No. Cyberpunk got nothing on Microsoft Flight Simulator, man. This is the game that will make your graphics card cry. So you can see, it's look. I'm getting 60, so it's not really that big of a difference, right? So that's why maybe try it on your own. Try it on your rig here. I'm not, because everybody's rig is different. I'm running an i5 10600K CPU with a 3080 RTX 3080 graphics card. I'm using a 32,000 or 32 gigabyte. I'm sorry, 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM, 32 gigabytes of RAM as well. So like everybody has different rigs, right? Like it's never gonna be the same. Your results may vary, but this is what I found out. Is this slider right here? This has everything. Everything is all about this slider right here. You could tweak a little bit of little settings here and there, but this is the one that takes the biggest hit on anything. As you can see here, look at that, 40, 50, 30, 47, and this is on the lowest. Look here, I'll even show you. I will show you. Let's go to the lowest settings, low end settings here, right? It's low end settings here. That's low end settings. Apply and save. Okay. You'll see I'm at 116, 113 FPS. So I broke the triple digits here. Okay, still going. See, still going down, but not as bad. But watch this. Okay, one single setting. I will change this one. Look how much this affects my frame rate. Just just by one single setting. How much it affects your frame rate. Look at that, 45. I saw 40. I saw 45 for a second there. 60, 55, 54, 59, 65, 69, and I'm not even panning around. So, I mean, I'm getting 80 now. Now, look, I'm getting 50, 44, 46, 50, 44. And look at my CPU usage as well. The CPU usage is at 80%. So this is the thing that takes a big hit. I think this is the thing. I believe that this, oops, the level, what is the LOD? Terrain level of detail. I think this has something to do with CPU. This is what causes your CPU to spike up. Actually, maybe I'm just finding that out now. Hold on, let me try this out, see what's going on. Yeah, look at the CPU. CPU's it's at 55%. You can see 50%. I'm just finding this out right now, guys, with you guys. So, interesting. So they're using CPU for the level of detail. So yeah, if you're using a low end CPU, then or like a 4-core, Microsoft like 6-core. It's basically what is this word I'm looking for? It's optimized for 6-core processors. So if you have a 4-core processor, you're gonna be having a really hard time with this, regardless of what settings you have for your graphics. You're gonna have a hard time because this game is not optimized for 4 cores. It's optimized for 6 cores. If you want to look that up, um, I forget where I read that from. I think I read it from Microsoft itself. I did some digging, and this simulator is optimized for 6 cores. So the i5 10600, or yeah, the i5 10600K that I have is perfect for this. Um, so So it seems like the terrain level of detail is CPU bound. Because if I do that, my CPU skyrockets to 80%, guys. I saw 80% there for a second. 75%. This is what I'm looking at here, guys. CPU up here, top left. CPU right here. 78. Oh my goodness. 75, 78, 80. Now look at my GPU, guys. My GPU is barely doing anything. So this is CPU bound right now. I'm CPU bound at the moment. The CPU is bottlenecking now because, well, it's not really bottlenecking because I'm still at 70%, but it's still higher than my graphic card. If you would look up here, the GPU percentage usage is only at 50 and CPU was at 70. So look at that. It's insane. 50 for the graphic card and 70 for the CPU. Huh. Okay. I'm just finding this out right now, guys. Look at that. Okay, so sorry if you were looking at if you guys were getting dizzy there. I was just testing something out here. So this seems to be a CPU related function here, or settings here. Because if you leave it at 10, CPU's usage goes way down. 27, 30. Interesting. So okay, guys. As you can see. As you can see, that's where it is, guys. The terrain level of detail. This is where all your problems are. Now, I don't know how this goes for AMD systems, AMD CPU, AMD graphic cards, because I don't have an AMD system. This might be not a problem for AMD. Maybe it is, but I don't know. Maybe it will work for all types of system. But I just know for Intel and Nvidia that this works good. Um, keep it at ultra. Keep this like at 75. And I'm still getting 60 frames per second because I'm not that CPU bound. Now you guys see my graphic cards went all the way up to 99% because now I'm utilizing my graphic card now. But yeah, guys, hope you guys learned something. Um, I'll show you my settings. I'll show you my settings for the my 3080. This is my settings right here. Let's see what was it? Keep this at 100. Okay. Keep these on high. Keep this at 100 as well. Okay, volumetric clouds, I keep this at high. Texture resolution, I keep that at high. Keep that at 16. I keep that at 6. Texture synthesis, I keep that at ultra. Waterways, I keep that at high. Shadow maps, I keep that at this number. Same number as well. Contact shadows, I keep this on high. Windshield effects, I keep this on medium. Ambient occlusion, I keep this on high or medium. Keep it on high or medium. Reflections, I keep it at ultra. Light shafts, I keep it at high. Bloom, I keep it on. Depth of field, I keep that disabled. Motion blur, I keep that on high. Lens correction is off. Lens flare is on. Glass cockpit is on medium. This is where I keep it at, guys. This is my settings. At 4K, I render my resolution down to 1727, which is 80% of 4K. And I typically put my VSync on at 60 frames per second because I am currently running it on my TV. My TV could only handle 60 frames per second. Anything over 60 frames per second, it's screen tears. Um, I'm currently gonna get the LG, what is it, C1 or something like that has 120 hertz refresh rate. So I could increase. So I could put this on G-Sync. Basically, as a G-Sync, has a variable refresh rate. It's a TV that has a monitor technology in it. It's like you could get one for like 70 inches for like $1,000+ or whatever. But anyways, this is where I keep it at, guys. On frame rate 60 FPS, TAA 100%, terrain vector data high, 100 high, 16, 6 ultra high. Here, you guys just pause the video if you guys want to see it. But that's where I keep it at, and have the best of both worlds. Basically, it's balanced for me. It does dip down 55, but I don't mind it. It doesn't really look bad. It's not as bad. This is where I keep it at. I really hope they change this. What I think it's called loading, or I forget what it's called. Where you see the textures are just loading in when you look at it. I forget what it's called. But anyways, it's very distracting, and it makes the whole simulator. It makes everything. It makes your experience really. I don't know. It makes the experience really bad. Because it makes it. I don't know. It's just very distracting to me. It looks ugly. So they are gonna, like what I said, they are gonna be updating, putting out an update for PC users to be able to turn that off. A slider to be able to load everything in. Because I mean, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, guys. I could load everything in. I could load all these information in here with so my system doesn't have to. It doesn't slow down. My system won't slow down because it has so much memory. So I don't need this stuff to preload when I'm doesn't need it. I don't need it to disappear to gain some performance. It's just really distracting. I don't like it. I mean, I get, like what I said, I get it. They did it for the consoles, guys. I'm not gonna hate on the consoles too much because, I mean, I'm not hating on the console at all. I have a console myself, so, and I play on my console, so I get it. I get it, but for the PC users that want to really have like a smooth experience with Microsoft Simulator, they need to change this because this is just so terrible. They are gonna change it. There was a big vote. People were voting to have a slider to be able to disable it, or hopefully you could disable it because I don't want any of this. I am gonna take a hit on my performance, but it's pretty much negligible, guys. I'm able to load everything in here because my RAM is just, I have a 32 gigabyte RAM, so. But anyways, guys, hope you guys learned something. Like I gotta say again here, if you guys want to see it again, here you go. Just pause your video or whatever. I mean, sometimes I keep this at 75. Sometimes, like in this city right here, I typically keep it at 75 because this is a really demanding area, guys. I mean, even if at 75, I'm still going down to 55, 50. So I keep it at 100 because it's a balance. It's balanced for me. Like 55, 56, 53, 52. Let's go in here. Oops, sorry. Let's go in here. Guess I'm getting better frame rates in here. So you can see. Didn't really make, it didn't really make a difference between those two. So, I keep it at 100. So I get more eye candy here. Yeah, so it went down to 40. Let it stabilize real quick. Alright. There we go. Yeah. So that's that, guys.